Welcome to this explainer. I was thinking recently, have you ever actually looked at your bank account and your daily calendar as two completely separate things? I mean, we all do, right? But what if, and just stick with me here, what if the way you spend your cash is literally the exact same thing as spending the finite minutes of your life? That's the massive cognitive shift we're going to unpack today. Okay, let's dive into this. Next time you're about to buy something, I want you to stop and ask yourself, how many hours of my life is this actually worth? I really want you to ponder that for a second. See, we're so incredibly used to just looking at price tags and seeing a number, a 20, a 50, maybe a 100. But what if we swapped out that dollar sign for an hourglass? It's kind of a radical new way to frame your everyday purchases. Instead of just asking if you've got enough sitting in your checking account, you really need to start asking if you have enough life left to justify handing it over for that item. And that brings us to the core baseline equation here, the time cost of money. See, money isn't just paper or, digital blips on a screen. It is the literal time of your life that you spent earning it. Think about it, the physical energy, the mental bandwidth, hitting snooze on those early morning alarms, the hours spent surviving meetings that honestly could have been emails. When you hand over a $20 bill, you aren't just handing over a piece of paper. You're trading away a literal fraction of your life, a fraction you can never, ever get back. You traded your time to get the dollar, and now you're trading that dollar for a thing. So by proxy, you are literally trading your time for that thing. Let's actually ground this with a super simple, totally relatable hypothetical to make the math perfectly clear. Let's say you earn an hourly wage of $20. $20 an hour. That means every 60 minutes you give to your employer, which is time away from your family, your friends, your hobbies, is exchanged for one $20 bill. I want you to just lock that exchange rate in your mind as we keep going. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what happens when we apply that exchange rate to the real world. Say you see a jacket for $100. At $20 an hour, that is exactly 5 hours of your life. Boom, half a working day, gone. What about a $300 gadget? Well, that's 15 hours, almost 2 full working days of your life just traded away. Now, let's actually slow down for a second here. Look at a $1,000 purchase. Maybe it's a quick vacation, a high-end phone, or some surprise car repairs. At $20 an hour, that is 50 hours of your life. 50 hours, that's literally more than an entire work week of waking up early, commuting, and just grinding away. We are talking about literal days of your finite, precious life, traded for just one single thing. When you see it mapped out like this, the entire weight of the purchase completely changes, doesn't it? So why on earth don't we feel that heavy weight when we shop? Well, it basically comes down to the frictionless spending trap. We spend money so easily today. Modern convenience has literally engineered our world to separate you from your money without even a second thought. You know the drill. You double-click a side button on your phone, or you hold it up to a scanner, beep, done. The transaction is so smooth, it's so fast, and it is utterly devoid of effort. But here's the thing. That tiny little beep completely masks the heavy, exhausting burden of the hours you actually worked to fund it. And because of that frictionless trap, we develop some pretty massive daily blind spots. In the heat of the moment, we completely fail to think about two absolutely crucial things: the actual time it took to earn that money, and whether the item is truly honestly worth that time. There's this staggering, stark contrast between the 2 seconds it takes to tap your credit card and the grueling reality of the hours or days or even weeks you spent earning that balance. We get totally focused on the dopamine hit, that quick thrill of unboxing something new, and we completely forget the invisible sacrifice it took to get it in the first place. Let's move to and see how this builds into a complete paradigm shift: the smart buyer framework. The good news is we don't have to stay trapped in that frictionless cycle. Highly mindful people, the ones who truly understand the real value of their wealth, well, they approach their spending totally differently. And I don't mean by cutting up their credit cards or living in total deprivation. They just change the internal dialogue and the baseline metrics they use to evaluate a purchase. It all starts with pausing to ask one really profound question. Is this worth the hours I worked? Smart buyers intentionally force a pause. They put the friction back into the system themselves. If they see a pair of $200 shoes, they don't just ask, hey, is this in my budget? No, they ask, are these shoes worth 10 solid hours of sitting in traffic, dealing with my overflowing inbox, and managing stressful clients? By converting the cost back into the currency of their own lived experience, the actual true value of the item becomes crystal clear. Sometimes, sure, the answer is an enthusiastic yes. But honestly, very often, when faced with the harsh reality of the literal time cost, the urge to buy just completely evaporates. Now, what's really interesting about this quote is how it takes that concept one step further. Think of this as your new internal monologue next time you're standing at the checkout counter or, hovering over that add to cart button. Would I still buy this if I had to work for it again? Imagine your bank account is completely empty, zeroed out, and to get this specific item, you have to immediately go work the exact number of hours it costs, starting right this very second. Would you put your work uniform back on or crack open your laptop and grind out those specific hours just for this one thing? It's a ruthless, incredibly effective filter for figuring out what actually matters to you. So the crucial point is this: money comes back. Money is literally a renewable resource. You can always get another job, you can pick up an extra shift or sell something you own. The balance goes down and it comes right back up again. But your time, your life, it doesn't. It only moves in one direction. You can never, ever earn back a Tuesday. Which brings us to our final thought to leave you with today. The very next time you pull out your wallet or double-click to pay, I want you to ask yourself, are you spending your money today or are you spending your life?